Gavin, who are you? And most importantly, for all our viewers listening out there who have never heard of your name, could you just give me three things you have built, broken, and walked away to become the person you are right now?
First off, who am I? I would say that I'm just the regular guy on the street. Like everything that I have, everything that I have done, anybody could do it, and they probably can do it better than me. So my name is Gavin Sim, and I'm currently the Chief Operations Officer of the Modern Wealth Group. I'm also the founder of Inbox Consults, as well as one man agency, as well as some other ventures that I do. The first thing, and that is the most important thing to me right now, is that I built a life where I call the shots. I think that is what is truly important, right? And it took me the last 10 years
Wow.
to actually build this life that I'm currently living. And I'm very, very blessed and privileged to be able to have done it. The second one, I would say that what I've built is that I've built very strong team around me with people that I can trust, which enables actually the first one. Because without them, the first life that I have would not exist.
Okay.
And the third thing that I've built, my relationships with my family. And truth to be told, I wouldn't think that it's the best one on earth, right? I think everybody will have their issues with their parents, with their spouse, their friends, and what's not. But it's something that I'm happy with and I'm satisfied with. The first thing that I walk away from is toxicity. Did I pronounce that correctly? Toxicity.
Yeah, I care to explain more about that point.
I think for the most part of my life, I want to do my best to be positive. I want to stay around people who are positive. They bring around good energy. I do not want to be held back by negative energies, negative emotions, because that will truly affect how I act, I think, I feel. So, for example, even when I was in my schooling days, if I have friends who comes to me every single day complaining about having too much homework, complaining about the teachers, and complaining about whatever else there is to be complained about, I will cut that out for my life. Maybe to an extreme, I'm not even in my family's group chat.
Wow.
Right, in my extended family group chat. But sometimes people get into arguments and what's not. And to me, it's like I don't need to be part of this drama. I want my life to be drama free, and I just exited.
So for your mental health as well as the toxicity in life, you decide to walk away from most of this?
Yes.
Or do you still say that you are around some of this right now?
I would say that I walk away probably for most of it.
Okay.
Right? But there are some people in your life where you can't walk away from, right? You just have to be around them, but you minimize interactions. You know that sometimes they come in from a position of love. They come in from a position of caring for you. They come in from a position of wanting to make sure that you are better. Truth is, I don't think that I want to fault them for feeling that way. When they are being negative or they are being what we call a red marker, stopping you from doing more, right? So you have green markers who encourage you to do more stuff. You have red markers who are saying that, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Stop doing that. But when they do become a red marker, I understand that they are coming from a point of love. They are coming from a point that it's only because I care. That's why I'm telling you not to do this. So I do my best to tolerate that. But when it comes to an extreme where they are forbidding my growth, when they are stopping me from achieving more, then I might have to take a step back.
Maybe let me try to understand what actually happened, like during that time. Like, what was the conversation in your head the night before you were probably, if I'm not wrong, 30 when you decide to make that move and that step to leave the Navy and do whatever you're doing now? Maybe bring us back to that point.
I would say that whatever happened then didn't happen in a singular moment. It was a cumulative of what has been my life experiences that led to that point. So, like you mentioned, for those who are unaware, I actually left on my 30th birthday, which is the 15th of September. And it was a very symbolic thing for me because I wanted a fresh start on that day itself. In fact, even the HR department was advising me not to leave on that because I could have just hang on for another 3 more months I would have gotten a lump sum of money from the Navy, which amount in the tens of thousands. But I walked away from that.
So let me get this right. You didn't take that lump sum of money. You decide to walk away from it. Like, I don't understand the.
There
Yeah.
is there is no rationale except for a pure emotional decision. I just said that I'm 30, I want a fresh start, and let's do it.
And did you know what you were gonna do next? The moment you decide.
The honest truth, no.
Oh.
I have absolutely no idea. But what I did know was this. What I did know was that if I didn't make that choice, what if one day and I wake up, I regret it? And that was what pushed me to make that decision. Right? Many, many months, even prior to that, I was asking myself that question. What if one day I wake up? It sounds very cliche, but what if I'm on my deathbed and I ask myself that question? What if I didn't give myself that shot, right, in life to do something that I really wanted to do? And when I weigh the pros and cons, so emotions aside, when I weigh the pros and cons, I leave the Navy. If I fail after 5 years, will the Navy take me back? Probably. Right? What's the worst that's going to happen to me? 5 years of my time wasted, but I can probably still come back to a good enough, stable job. Right? But if I don't leave, the problem will be that the inertia for me to leave after that will be very difficult, because by then I'll be promoted, I'll be receiving a rather decent salary, and my life will just carry on. And when you move on in life, you're gonna get a family, you're gonna have responsibilities, there are more and more things that you need to do. I'm gonna find it even more difficult to step away to make that decision.
Congratulations to you. I'm actually very curious on the part where you say inertia. And it's very important that we have this momentum when we do things, when we start our business and all. For our audience out there, the local context is that if you're in a stable rice bowl, like the Navy or the Army, it would be not say foolish to leave, but some people would think why, like what your HR have said. But I'm very curious on the inertia portion, because you didn't have plans after that, to be very honest. But what kind of inertia were you looking for?
So when I said inertia, it was like if I had continued on in the Navy,
Okay.
I would have lost that drive to or inertia to move out from it, because
Okay.
I would have gotten my promotion, my pay would have been, even at that point of time, it was already 6 figures a year. And it would be a lot difficult because when I come out, I will have no job, no income, no nothing. So when I left the Navy at 30, to be honest, was it the best decision ever? For anyone else who is watching this and thinking about doing this thing unplanned, my honest advice would be no, you got to think through it a little bit more carefully. Don't replicate what I did. I was very lucky to have made the right move at that point of time. But I did calculate like what I need after I leave the Navy. So I did set aside at least 1 to 2 years of savings of my expenses to know that I am fully secured. Even if I don't get anything going or anything good, I know that I will be okay for 1 to 2 years. And it's always in my belief that we are geographically very, very blessed to be in Singapore. We are in a country where the government is stable, where the economy is stable. And I truly believe that if you have your hands, you have your legs, you're willing to work hard, you will be able to make money. And that actually rang very, very true for me after I left the Navy. I did have a short stint as a director of sales for a magazine company. But after I left that, I have nothing else planned for. I drove Grab or Uber, right, for 18 months before I actually proceeded to do more of my other businesses. So that was what I meant by if you have hands, you have your legs, you're willing to work hard, you'll make money. The question is just how much are you willing to sacrifice to do it?
It's a very big jump. Maybe let me understand what was going on in your head. Yeah.
So to make sure that we have the timeline correct, so I left the Navy on September 15, 2016. Prior to me leaving, my friends around me, my closer friends, knew that I was leaving, and one of my friends was then working in a magazine firm, and she told her boss that I have a friend who is coming out, and I then went for an interview, and the boss of that firm actually offered me a director of sales role for the magazine, which I did. After 3 short months in the company, we realized that we weren't really a good fit for each other. So it was a more of like a mutual departure. But truth to be told, I did get a sense that maybe the boss also didn't like me much. So it was a nice firing in disguise. I also wanted to leave because I realized that I left the Navy for a reason. I left the Navy to do something that I wanted. Why am I leaving myself from one job to another job when what I wanted to do was really to start my own business? So what happened after that was I have no clue whatsoever what I wanted to do.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yes. So obviously not a man with many plans. When that happened, I still need to make money, right?
Okay.
And that was a period where private hire, Grab, Uber was really getting onto the scene, and that was actually my routine for the next 18 months. So imagine this: imagine waking up at 2 p.m. every day. Good life, right? Most people will be thinking, wake up at 2 p.m. That's the dream. But here's the twist, right? I wake up at 2 p.m. I will actually invest in my skill sets. I will work on my business for the next 5 hours to about 7 p.m. And then I will head out and then I will proceed to do my private hire. So I will drive Grab or Uber from 7 p.m. all the way to around 5 a.m. Right, so that is about a good 9 hours, 10 hours drive every single night. And from 5 a.m., I will have my breakfast, go back home, shower up, read a little bit more, practice on my skills, and then I will sleep from maybe 7 or 8 all the way to 2, and my routine repeats itself. And that was my routine for the next 18 months. If you want to consider the fact that I was also working on my business at the same time, I'm easily clocking in like a 14, 15 hours day every single day for the next 18 months. And how many people would actually be willing to put in that kind of effort?
It doesn't sound sustainable to a human being at this rate lah that you're saying.
It was sustainable for my body, but it wasn't sustainable for my relationship because of the routine that I had. My life was kind of in reverse with my wife,
Oh.
right? Because when I'm awake, she's sleeping, right? And when she's sleeping, I'm out working. So what happened was that during the 18 months, it became like in Mandarin, there is like a song
Yeah.
by Alva Xiao Yaxuan, which is 最熟悉的陌生人,
What does that mean?
the most familiar strangers.
Oh.
So we are like two strangers living in the same house.
I see.
And that led to like a total communication breakdown. What actually stopped me at the 18-month mark was because imagine this one day, right? For all the gentlemen who's watching this, you will probably get what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Imagine one day you open the door, you go back home,
Okay.
you see your wife sitting at the sofa,
Okay.
looking at you, and then she says, "Come, sit down. I want to talk to you." What goes through in your head with it?
It's not something good.
Yeah, and it wasn't good. Right. So when that happened, I sat down and my wife just told me that, I think we need to separate. I was like, what? Why? Right. And simply because I have not been paying attention to her. In my head, I was putting in the effort. I was working hard. I'm hustling. I'm looking to build our future. But she didn't see it that way. Or rather, what she couldn't see was, where's my husband? For the last 18 months. Where is the guy that I'm married to? Where is the guy that is supposed to be with me? I wasn't there. I wasn't present. And that was when I realized I had to change. So that was when I shifted my routine. It's okay, I made certain sacrifices. And right now, I always do my best to, bring my wife. And I'm again, because of what I did, right now I have the freedom of choice. So I can choose every day when I want to bring my wife to work, where I can fetch her off work, when we want to go for meals, when we go for holidays. We just came back from a 2-month holiday last year, traveling around the world. And that was what gave me that choice. And if that didn't happen, honestly, I wouldn't think that I have come to that realization.
Like, how do you prove to her? Like, how long it took you to prove to her that you can change?
Wow. If she sees this interview, I think she's gonna give me 2 tight slaps. But what I did was, the change was immediate, at least on my end. When that happened, immediately I changed my habits, right? No more night driving, no more driving in the night. Immediately, I switched to a routine. I offered to bring her to work, right? We gave each other some time for the first, I remember it was about a month or something.
A month.
To just think about what she said. Because to me, there's also something that I respect a lot in terms of in the way that I do things, is once you say something, you will honor it. And I do it in terms of in my business as well as my relationship. So just FYI, like my wife is my first and only girlfriend. And to me, I always tell her that we should not ever take like, oh, we want to break up, or we want to separate, or we want to divorce, this kind of terms lightly. Because once you let it out, you can never take it back. And if we are really executing on it, then that's it. It's over means it's over. I did my part in that sense that I showed that, I'm wanting to change. Let me fetch you on off work, everything. I pay more attention. I dedicate time for meals. Um, and we did that. And after a while, I think she saw the change. And of course, thankfully, right now we are stronger than ever.
Well, congrats, Gavin.
Yeah.
I think all your experience have taught our audience and even myself, right, that you went through so many different levels of obstacles to be where you are. I think you have a certain trait of organization in this. You're well organized. But can I ask, you started helping speakers organize events for free. Which part do you actually realize that is actually a business?
During the period where I was driving as well, I was helping a speaker do their event. So in the Navy, I was always a very operations guy. Even my role currently, I'm the chief operation officer. So I've always been a very operational guy. I first got into the seminar business way early in, I would say, early 2000s, right? And I remember what I did was I paid close to $3,000 to attend a 2-day event at Expo, right? And I paid for that event. I went to attend a live in-person preview. I paid $3,000. And when I went to Expo for the event, to my, I'm not sure if it's horror or is it amazement, there was thousands of people in that room. I was like, damn, I paid 3,000. If there's just 1,000 people here, that dude has made $3 million just from this 2-day event. It blown my mind of the mathematics of doing seminars and workshops. During that event, they invited another speaker whom I have great respect to and I learned a lot from. His name is Ken Chi. Shout out to Ken if you are watching this. I learned value investing. I learned a lot of good things from him. And during the event, he was invited to speak. And then I paid even more money to buy his program then. And then through Ken, I paid even more money to attend subsequent events. And that is when I realized that there truly is a business in this. And to me, why is this a business that I want to do? Because for me personally, it did really change my life. A lot of people would say a lot of things about the seminar industry being just, guru selling courses is a scam.
It's a MLM.
Some
Like,
people
to a
will say
certain
it's an
extent.
MLM, or it's just these people are not even earning money, they are just selling courses for money. Yeah. Are there people like that out there? Sure, I'm sure there is. There are always black sheep regardless of the industry that you are in. But for the people that I've learned from, I would say that they truly changed my life, and I truly see the value in this industry. And I also seen how my programs have helped some of my students change their life as well. That was when I kind of like understood, okay, this could be a business, but I couldn't act on it because I was in the Navy. So after I left the Navy, after the director of sales stint, when I was driving, it just so happened that another speaker, whom I've had the pleasure to learn from earlier, was organizing another event. And I was invited to attend. So I went to attend the event, and to put it very bluntly, the event was a shit show, or it's very badly organized.
Okay.
And at the end of the event, I actually went out to the speaker and said, you know what, I'm now in between something, and if you'd like to, I feel that I have the required expertise to help you organize the next one to be better. So I remember I helped him just purely for organizing the event and then helping him to do suggestions on marketing and closing. We moved that event, right, from a 20 packs event to the next time we did it. It was about a 50 packs event, and the whole event itself was generated over $2 million. And from what I was told, that was when people in the industry started to take note of me, because they were wondering how did that speaker suddenly manage to organize such a well-run event. And that was when I started to have a lot of people wanting to talk to me to find out more. And I realized that could be a business that I do, but that wasn't the business that I did. I actually went on to do something else, which is to do marketing for businesses. So I did not organize the events, but I do the marketing for such speakers and coaches.
But let me get this right. You know that each people will pay for your time so that they can attend to it. But you didn't do that. You went on to marketing. Like again, what made you
No.
want to avoid money? It sounds like you're
No,
avoiding money. I don't know why.
I'm not avoiding money. Let me quantify that, because when many of these other event organizers, they realized that I have that ability to do so, what they
Okay.
wanted me to do was they wanted
Right.
me to become part of their team, to become a staff.
Understand.
And I knew that at that point of time, I already know that that is not something that I want to fall back into. I rather come out to do something on my own, where I am the owner, I'm the staff, I'm the founder, I'm the bao ka liao, I'm the one that
Right.
does everything. Right? But it's my business, and I control what I want to do in this business.
One thing that I really wanted to know is on your three businesses. So we have Inbox Consult, Modern Wealth Academy, which is now Modern Wealth Group, and then one man agency as well. Okay, now treat me like an idiot, right? That, pardon me, I don't understand any of this. What's the point and what's the purpose of you having these three companies?
I would say that it's actually a journey of my entrepreneurship, struggles in that sense, which is very interesting because one of my students was approached and given an opportunity. And then he was saying things like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I will take it. I'm not sure if I'm ready." And I replied him with this particular line: opportunities don't look for you when you are lucky. Opportunity come for you when you are ready. You are ready. Take it. Seize the day. That was what I told my student this morning. And that actually applies to what I'm going to share with you, because you were asking about the three companies. So Inbox Consult was my marketing agency. So like we were talking about earlier, that was, I rejected all the other offers, right? I started Inbox Consult to do marketing for companies. And I was very lucky to have very good clients supporting me over the years. And one of these clients then happened to be the founder of Modern Wealth Academy, whom I then became a co-founder and partner with together. So what happened was, I remember the year was, I believe it was 2022, right? After COVID, just after COVID, I had a birthday promotion. So I remember I posted a link or a poster on my Facebook page. And then I said something like, I'm going to do this crazy promotion. If you need help marketing, look for me. If you invest a certain amount in your marketing, I will reimburse that amount together with you. So my friend saw that offer. It was like no brainer. He asked me out for coffee.
Wow.
And I remember we were at his place. So this current partner, his name is Rashwin, an amazing entrepreneur with an amazing story. And we asked a few questions. And after that, I agreed to take on the deal. He agreed to become my client. So I was marketing for him his business. And within a period of 3 months, I took his business from 5 figures, which is making just over $10,000 a month, to over $100,000 a month. Right, that was the rate of the business that we were doing. And then in about a year in, we were then doing, right, we became a 7-figure business. That was the time when Rash actually looked at me and said, do I want to be a partner? Because when I was helping him, I realized that he was a solopreneur. Many of the things that he does was just him doing him himself. And when you grow a business to a certain stage, you started to have the requirement for a support team of staff, for somebody for finance, somebody for admin, somebody to reach out to your like relationship manager to handle your client. And he didn't have all of this system in place. So I was supposed to be his marketer, but I was doing all of that for him as a friend. And that was when he also realized that, you should be paid properly for what you're doing, be a partner. And that was when I became a partner of Modern Wealth Academy. And that continued on, and I focused on growing the business then from 2022 to somewhere around 2024. So we grew very rapidly. So from a 7-figure company, we became an 8-figure company, which means we did over $10 million. And of course, now I have a great team behind me, and everyone is doing their job extremely well. I'm very blessed to have found the right people to work with. Last year, in 2025, I've always been interested in AI. I've been working with AI actually even before 2022 when ChatGPT came out. Right, I've been working with AI since 2020 or even earlier. I used that to grow our businesses. So my partners was telling me that, hey, dude, you are so good in AI. You are using it to do so much. And I think the world needs to know what you are doing and how it can help them to start a business. After a lot of persuasion, I then started to teach AI again in 2025. July 2025. That was when I remember my first ads went out. I started to do classes for people. So one man agency is actually two sphere. One is where I actually share with people how they can do what I did previously with Inbox Consult. It's just that now you are AI enabled. So as an AI enabled marketing agency or automation agency, you can now do a lot more, spending a lot less time. So that is one part. So we have the one man agency bootcamp. So that's the educational portion. And of course, one man agency, we also have our own clients whom then we execute what we teach for clients to make sure that they can rank well in Google, in all the search engines, in the LLMs, in ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever that is, and how they can incorporate AI elements into their workflow, chatbots, automations, and for businesses, how AI can actually make their employees, right, and workers more productive, more effective. So that is the current business. So you can see how each of these businesses actually leads on to one another. And it's through the accumulation of knowledge and experience over the years that I have that leads to the three companies.
I think it's really very interesting when you said that Rash bring you into the business at that point of time. And for partners, what do you see in partners? That's because you left multiple jobs and you know that they are not the right fit. What made you say yes to Rash?
The value that he held, and in my opinion, integrity that he had.
Okay.
I was his marketer for close to a year, 6 months to a year, before I accepted the invite to become a partner. So that was for Rash because I really wanted the time to know is he worth his salt.
Okay.
Even though I already known Rash for many years prior to that, but I have never worked with him in such deep levels before. I believe you never truly know somebody, right? There's always, people always say, money doesn't change who you are, but money amplifies who you are. I think that is true,
Okay.
but I also think that money do change people.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It's not just because the saying is money don't change you, but money just amplify who you are. And I think that's absolutely true, right?
Okay.
Especially the back part. Money amplifies who you are. If you have
Okay.
always been more generous, if you are always generous, you will be more generous. If you have been someone like me who is very stingy, you'll be more stingy. Maybe, I don't know, right? But if you are someone who is caring about people, you will want to give more, you will give more, right? But I also don't believe in the front of that saying that money don't change people. I believe that in the face of huge financial gains, people will change. In fact, we have probably all heard stories before where even faced with little financial gain, people change. And that's why there's corruption in the world. In many of the partnerships that I've seen, sometimes it's not about partners not pulling their weight, but it's also a matter of finding partners who can complement you. Well, what do I mean by that? Imagine I'm a very operational person. I'm not a very sales oriented guy. Even though I have to be for what we are as business owner, you understand that no matter how much we hate sales, as an entrepreneur, you have to do part of it. But I'm not built for that in that sense. You get what I'm trying to say? I am not the best person for it. So I need to find someone else who is going to be very good at sales, very good at BD to go out and do that for me. So that brings a good compliment. But imagine if both of us are very good at sales.
Okay.
And all we do is to get a lot of clients, but no one is there to work to deliver. That business is probably not going to survive too long. Or if two of us are very operational, like you are very good at producing, directing, and we are all good at that. But after we produce and direct, no one is there to help us sell our vision, our project to the media. Then it's also not going to work.
I just want to bring us back to the AI portion, Gavin. Just explain to me, like, how does your Monday morning look like with you implementing your own AI system? Like, how does, literally your day-to-day life look like now, since you are coaching on AI and you're also using AI?
I'm not sure after what I said, will people be more afraid of AI or will they be looking forward to use more of AI? Because there's this trap that many of us are currently in. Before AI, we all lead a normal, decent life. But after AI, we are doing so much more and coding way into the night that you're sleeping lesser. I'm not sure if any of you have seen this meme. Maybe we can go look it up. Where there's this very funny meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. The scene in Titanic where they were in the restaurant. Leo was saying goodbye to Rose.
Yes.
Jack was saying goodbye to Rose.
Yes.
Right, Jack was saying goodbye to Rose. The subtitle then was saying that Rose was asking Jack, where are you going? And Jack would just say, oh, I'm going to just code for a little bit. I will see you. And then the next scene in the meme, they cut it to the 80-year-old Rose saying that I have not seen Jack for 80 years.
Oh yes, I think I saw
Yeah,
it online.
yeah. So that was the meme that is, and the truth is, AI is helping us do so much, right? But because we could now do so much, there's so much more we want to do, and it's just a cycle that goes on and on again. So what's my Monday look like right now? I will wake up when my wife want to wake up, because when she wakes up, we wake up, and I have to fetch her to where she wants to be.
Okay.
And after that, I will head on to the office. Usually, I prefer to work in the office than at home. I will go inside to the office. I will start up my machines, and I will start to do some work using AI on my own local machine. But at the same time, throughout the whole night, I actually have a agent who is already doing all the research for me. So every morning, I receive a report on what's the latest happening, what should I be focusing on the day. And for Monday in particular, that's also when we do our company-wide, our group-wide huddle. So in the late afternoon, I will do our meetings. And once the meetings are all over, I typically stay in the office till whenever my wife needs me to pick her up. And if she doesn't need me to pick her up, I will probably stay there till like 10 or
Wow.
11 p.m. just talking away to my computer
That's crazy.
and building things out. Yes.
It's funny how you say that AI like enables us to do more, right? Do you kind of agree that sometimes we are already doing so much before AI, and then when AI comes in, right, it makes it so easy for us, but then we kind of crave that effort again. We want to make more effort to discover, so we work even harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the part, right? You're saying
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
scary, but yet it also makes us want to.
But for people like us, it's exciting, right?
It is.
I'm truly excited to be living in this era that we're in right now. I am of the
Yes.
age, for those of us who are watching this, we are
Mm.
probably all around the same age, I would assume,
I
right?
hope
We'll
so.
probably remember the days of like pages, Nokia's,
brick
right?
phones.
Brick phones, right? We were in the age where we were from the non-IT to IT to the internet and to now to the AI age. Like in the last 40 years, right? Civilization have gone through change that have not happened in the thousands of years preceding us. I'm excited because I'm caught right into it. And there are people obviously not able to catch up. And there are people who are now born into this age as well. But we are that era. We are that special group of people who live through both. So for me personally, I find this extremely exciting.
I just wanted to ask you a very important thing.
Yes.
If the 29-year-old Gavin was to see you right now, the one that's about to leave Navy, that phase, right?
Mm.
What would he get wrong about what success looks like?
29-year-old Gavin will have a very different idea of what success will look like. And 29-year-old Gavin will think that success is defined by money. 39-year-old Gavin will say that no, money is not the all to end to. You can be successful and rich and wealthy without all the zeros in your bank. You are going to be rich in your mind and you're going to be rich in your body, and truly that's all you need in the world today. In my personal opinion, it's about contentment. You need to be you need to know contentment.
If I may add in and summarize everything in 2-3 sentences, that all your experiences and your pain and the people who you have met actually shape the way you are right now. And I really thank you for coming down today for all our audience. It's something that I wish we could have talked a whole day on, but this has really given like our young, mid-term, and even high-level entrepreneurs a very good insight that whether is it being contented in life or the decisions you make to walk away, everyone has the right to do so. Everyone has the ability to do so. And for one last thing to the audience out there, what would you give them as a final piece of advice of what you have today?
If I to bring this back a full circle, I mentioned this earlier. Opportunity doesn't come for those who are lucky. Opportunity comes for those of you who are ready. So be ready.
All right, thank you, Gavin, for today. One last thing I need to speak to the audience is that this is our first Note 1 we don't call it episode, we actually call it Note 1. Look out for Note 2 and 3 in the future. There'll be more of this videos coming out soon. We are mainly on Spotify and YouTube, so just drop us a subscribe and like. That would really help us to go on to the next following episodes. We really appreciate the time, and if you guys really do that, I will give you as well, my team and I will give you the commitment that we'll try our best to always do something like this, and it fuels us to go further. So thank you, and I'll see you again. Thanks, Kevin, for today.
All right, thank you for your time.
Yeah.